Aloha, my name is Anna Covert, and I'm coming to you from my battleship here on the beautiful island of Oahu. This week on the Covert Code Podcast, the topic is embracing gratitude in business. And I'm pleased to introduce Callie Teegardin, Senior Advisor of Promptings, the online card and gift company, and a leader in relationship management. A senior advisor, Callie has endless experience in how to use gratitude to form business relationships and create authentic experiences. She's recently been awarded the Consultant of the Year award, and here to share more about her Dare to Care and how you can empower yourself in personal and business development by really connecting with your customers in unique and memorable ways. Thanks for being here, Callie.
Thanks for having me, Anna. I'm glad to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit about your professional journey? And I know you're from a small town in Indiana. How did you grow into this global role in relationship marketing with Promptings?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I did grow up in a small town in Indiana. I graduated from a high school, 200 kids in our high school, and it was a public school, so really small town of 700 I grew up in. I went to Notre Dame after high school, and when I left Notre Dame, I thought originally I wanted to be a doctor. By the end of my college, I decided I wanted to go in sales, and I decided I wanted to get out of the Midwest. I knew if I stayed close to home, I may never leave, but if I left, and I could always come back. And I ended up in the Houston, Texas area, have been here in this area ever since. I started my career in sales. I worked for a staffing company, a national staffing company, and started cold calling and knocking on doors. Didn't know a lot, had some great mentors. Went into a transportation company, did national accounts, local, and then into a industrial supply company, into their national accounts program and sales management. And I woke up one day in that company and I was miserable, not so much the job, but that my company and my boss owned my life. I had 12 days of vacation. I absolutely loved to travel. My first European trip was when I was a freshman in high school and fell in love with other cultures and learning about people. And so, at 30 something, I was like, there's got to be more to life than this. And so I was looking for something and ended up getting involved with Promptings. People also know us as send out cards.
I was going to ask the difference between you and the send out cards.
We're the same company. Promptings is
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And send out cards is one of our product lines. But for years, people knew us just as send out cards. And a couple of years ago, we expanded our offering with some additional, we have gratitude journals now. We have gratitude system experts that will help you with your cards. We do a Promptings to Prosperity and a prompting seminar event. So it's personal development events. So we rebranded to Prosperity as the parent company and send out cards as a product line. So I found send out cards back 15 years ago. I had that full-time job. I was running a business on the side and knew the importance of staying in touch, right? Writing. And my mom raised us to write thank you notes. Like if someone did something nice for you or gave you a gift, you had to write a thank you note.
Yes.
And so I knew in business, having been in sales, that a way to maintain my client base was to stay in touch. And a written note was important. So I wanted to be able to send birthday thank you cards for when they placed orders and holiday cards, but it was time consuming, right? I was building my business part-time. And so to literally sit down and handwrite a card, and then I would spell something wrong and have to throw it away. And it wasn't
the story of my life. I'm dyslexic. So it was like never, I have to write it down on the computer first and then like copy it down. Yeah.
And so what I found, I was introduced by a lady I met at a women's group, and she told me about it. I didn't get it, but she sent that first card in the mail to me, and I knew it was the answer to my prayers. And then I looked at the business side of this and was like, this is a no-brainer for me. I know business people. I know the importance of staying in touch. So I ended up building this business, decided this was the route I was going to go, build it part-time alongside my full-time job. And, eventually left that, build up to one of our top consultants in the company. And then 3 years ago, got the opportunity as we were moving to Promptings to work closely with our founder on some best projects on the corporate side, and ended up working myself into the senior field advisor role. So I now work with all of our consultants as a kind of, I would say, that conduit between our corporate and our field to make sure that everything we're doing, working closely with our founder, makes sense to our field and vice versa.
Global. You're a global company, so you're working with people all over the world.
Yeah, we are global. We are customers all over the world and gratitude consultants in 7 different countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And I think it's really important. I think the same thing that, I was always taught to send thank you cards and even Christmas cards, we would send out. And just, it seemed that there was a big drop in mail, but now there's some kind of resurgence happening. Talk to me about what you're seeing. What are the trends?
The trends are because of social media. If you think about it, we are a connected world that has become very disconnected because you go out to dinner and you look at a table and there's 3 people and they're all sitting on their phone instead of having that actual connection, right? And so even though we're all more connected because of social media, because of our phones, we've become disconnected. And I think that's really the big place that Promptings and send out cards plays, because it's about creating connection, right? And if you think about it, gratitude and being grateful for the people in your life and telling them that, from a business standpoint, your customers, your referral sources, right? People that are on your team or your employees, appreciation. We all want to feel like we matter.
Yeah.
And that's where I think you see this resurgence with that tangible touch card telling people they matter. Because if you think about it, you post it or you email it, it disappears. They may not even see it. I saw today a post when I was in elementary school, a gentleman a year ahead of me. He was 7th grade, 6th grade. Unfortunately fell down the stairs and it killed him. And his younger brother, right, is still living. And there was a post about, he had asked, what do you remember my brother? And one of them, he never saw it. This a year later, and the lady shared it. And it's things just disappear off social media. But had they sent that message to him in a card, it would be on his refrigerator, on his desk, and he would have it to this day, remembering his brother. And so that's the power of that tangible. We don't throw it away. And if you put a picture in it, we don't print our pictures anymore. When we grew up, I used to take tons and I couldn't wait to turn in my film and get pictures. Right now they live on our phone. So if someone sends you a card like this, right, with your picture on it, it stays on your desk. You keep it.
Yeah, you put it in a frame. I was doing this thing for a while called ink cards.
Yep.
And I was loving it. And I was sending, things to my mother and to even myself. I would send myself, just for that very reason, so I could have it printed out. And then all of a sudden what happened was the quality started to degrade.
Ooh.
And we started seeing that there was just poor experiences. Then they'd send another one, but eventually I stopped kind of thinking about it because I didn't want the experience to be negative.
Right.
Yeah. So what kind of, I guess you're doing all different languages and do you have API connectivity so that people can hook this up with the CRM and so that...
Yeah, we are, that is something very close to being launched. So with that whole CRM and API, yes, we're very close on having that launched. I was just texting with our, the gentleman who's over all of our operations. And so we're very close on that. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, that's going to be a game changer because that's the number one reason things don't get done in companies, right? It's where do we store the information and then how do we act on it to make our lives easier?
Yep.
Are you using any different types of AI? What is your feeling as a company on how that can help create better relationship experiences?
Yeah, so from like our card editor and that, we're not using a lot of AI like with our end users. We believe in that message coming from you. But from a corporate standpoint, right? And first from like our consultants, a lot of them are using AI for images because you can load your own image on the card. So they'll go and, generate an image with AI based on a conversation they had. I had one funny story. We were in Asheville, luckily before the hurricane, right? A couple weeks, and we had come from Charlotte, and my boss kept telling everyone we'd been to Charlottesville, and we came from Charlotte. So it was a funny joke. I literally got this card, and it was like a train tack to Charlottesville and all these leaves and everything we discussed. And he used AI to create that front card, which was amazing. And then from a corporate standpoint, I use AI a lot in mine, right? What I love about it is when you prompt it and it's like, okay, I need to write this email. Here's everything I want to add in it. And then it doesn't completely write it for you. You need to edit it out, but it's an amazing tool for productivity.
Because I think that's one thing that a lot of even, being in advertising and having an agency, I think we were kind of slow adopters overall, because we felt it was an attack on, the creative spirit and whatnot. But what I found is that it just makes us even faster and better because you can, and I think a lot of people, they might want to send a card, but then they struggle with, what am I going to say? And how is it going to be felt? What is the consumer going to experience? And so using, even being able to understand who this company is and the sensibility could make it even easier and faster if it's connected with the CRM of what are you trying to say? And then just push go and you'll just send
exactly
automatically.
Exactly. So which is so cool.
Interesting. So talk to us about, this dare to care approach. What does that mean to you and how do you use it?
Yeah, it means that no matter what, the relationship's most important. Like when you're doing business with people or just in general, right? It's about connecting with the person instead of going in and trying to sell them something. And I was actually having a conversation earlier today with one of the ladies that I'm coaching. And one of the things we talk about is a lot of people in our company network, right? And so one of the things that I've coached him to, and I think this kind of is the epiphany of it, a lot of times you get together for a one-on-one. Someone says, oh, here's what I do, and the other one says what I do. And a lot of time it seems like they're both trying to just sell each other, right? And we've taught, go in and connect with the person as a human being. And I believe your one-on-one should be someone that at the end of the day, if neither of you do business together, you'd want to go have lunch with them or a cup of coffee, or in my case, a glass of wine, right? This is someone I want to get to know because they're just a cool person, right? And that's instead of just, let me have a one-on-one with everyone, even if I don't have anything in common or interest with them. And so with that, she had said today, one of the things I coach him is that when you walk out of those meetings, you want to leave that person with three things. It could be an invite to a networking meeting. It could be a direct referral. It could be an introduction to a referral partner. It could be a book that you read, right? The lady today, she has a check, 15 tips on networking. And she was meeting with a lady who was new to networking. And so all those things, it can be a combination, but three things. And when you do that, you're building relationship, right? And people believe in the law of reciprocity. You do something nice for someone, they do something nice back. And you don't do it because, if I'm nice to them, they're going to be nice to me. But if you do it and you just go out, people are going to be like, you need to talk to that person. She knows everyone. She's a giver, right? And they want to do nice things with you. And so if you go into business and in life, just being kind, right? Caring about others, caring about the relationship, the business comes and it takes care of itself.
I agree. I think you're right. It's so easy. It's almost part of the, we're doing this podcast and we have some Q&As we do in advance, but I tried at the beginning, I didn't want to have a Q&A.
Right.
And the reason why I read this amazing book and the overall idea was that when you have interview questions, what happens is the interviewee, right, they are stressed, right, and they're practicing their response, right, and then you as the interviewer are just waiting for them to finish their response to ask the next question. Right? And so then it doesn't provoke active listening. And I think that that's the same thing when you're, at a networking event and you're so worried about telling people what you do, that you're not really listening to what they do. And that's why immediately you forget them, because they were doing it more like the way you're talking about is find something you have in common, find some connection, and then from there the rest will follow.
100% agree. And then I think, in networking, how many people have you networked with over time, but you've lost touch? That's what I love about, promptings and send out cards, is because everyone that comes into my database, I try to get their birthday, and they get a birthday and a half birthday card. Like when you were 5.5, it's something I don't work. It's fun because I'm touching them 2 times. But how many times someone gets that birthday card? It's how how we met, right? Through Theorem, one of the ways that we stay in touch, because she's going to get 2 cards from me a year and then potentially others, but it continues that relationship. She and I met off of Instagram, right? How many people you meet on Instagram? Yeah. And I think it was pre-COVID, so it's been at least 5 or 6 years. Like, how many people did you meet? She lives in California. I live in Texas. 5 to 6 years later that you're still connected with and have built a relationship, right? That we spend all this time to meet people, but what are we doing long-term to stay connected? And letting them know they matter.
App or anything? I mean, I'm just thinking like for the networking, if you have Promptly or Send Out Card, is there like an app where you can like scan a business card and it adds automatically to?
It doesn't. There is an app where you literally can go in and send a card right away. As soon as, like, I work with a lot of real estate agents. I'm like, if you go on a listing appointment, when you get back into your car in the driveway, you should be sending the card right then. Don't wait.
Absolutely. It's the same thing. I mean, I work in a lot of solar, huge amount of solar companies, maybe 60 or whatnot. And that's one of the things I think that's missing is that, personal connection, So how many cards are you guys sending a day globally?
Globally, up to, on the busiest day, up to 1 million a day in the holiday. Yeah. The holiday, we are coming into our busiest season right now. So it just depends on the time of the year, but we done up to 1 million a day.
Are people also using this for fundraising opportunities?
Some. I think that, and I do think that's a miss. Like if someone's fundraising and they're not sending the donor a thank you card, because how many donors send money to one place one year and another place another year, and they're not coming back? And I believe a lot of that is because they're not saying thank you. Like, we want to feel appreciated. We're giving our hard-earned money to a cause. We're happy about that. But next year, we don't feel appreciated. Do we go somewhere else?
It seems like a really easy way to, just like you said, like stay top of mind. And we call it in marketing like impression share. Like how many times are you touching that customer or that person?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think a lot of times the big miss is a thank you should be a thank you. A thank you is not, or a birthday card should be a birthday card. How, like, I've gotten birthday cards or even like messages. On LinkedIn, I got one, and I got an insane lady, happy birthday, and then a month later, work anniversary. And both of them, she's like, oh, hey, I have a free gift, but it was something promoting her business. It really wasn't a free gift, right? So how many times are we saying thank you or happy birthday, but trying to add on like, give me a referral or call me for business instead of just making the message about the happy birthday or the thank you? And I think that's where even like the nonprofits or business people, it's like, I gotta know the ROI. I gotta make sure I have a call to action on this. No, and a thank you card, it just needs to be a thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's so much more authentic.
Yeah.
Right. That's part of that authentic connection. And so you were recently named Consultant of the Year. What do you think was the biggest reason for this? What was it? How did that happen? Tell me about that.
Every year. So it was every year we name a Consultant of the Year. So it was before I moved into the corporate role. And activity, team activity, culture of the company, right? The person they see that that year really exemplifies what the company is all about. And working with their own customers, but also with their team and building that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you have the send out cards, how are you advertising your guys' services?
We are all through our gratitude consultants. So we're not going, as a company, we have social media, right? Our founder just started TikTok and doing different things out there, but we're marketing is all through our gratitude consultants. So
tell me about that. How does it work? So you decide you want to be a gratitude consultant, and now you're bringing on customers, and is it kind of like a multi-level?
Yep, it's a network marketing company. We're a network marketing company. So you're bringing on customers and you're bringing on other gratitude consultants. So you get, of course, paid most for what you personally do, but then you get an override commission or a bonus on helping others get started in our business.
Interesting. What do you think's next for the industry?
What do I think is next for the industry? Oh, that's a good one. I think that next is just where do we go from here, and how do we make the connection and that power of connection strong, right? If people think about it, greeting cards are somewhat old school. So how do we make sure that we don't lose that in a digital world? So I think it's a continuous build upon that. And we have some ideas, but they're not ones I can share right now.
That does make sense. And I think, and then of course, like, does it lose? It's still wonderful to get like a personal text, for instance, right? Or right. Yeah. But then does it lose something? But as we continue to be cognizant of environmental impact of mail and things, having that, on the back burner, I think is smart.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So, we talked a little bit about gratitude and, in day-to-day life. How do you balance your personal and professional life, and with this in mind?
Yeah. So one of the things that I do every morning is I journal, gratitude journal. We actually have a gratitude journal. I'd always journal, but our founder came out with a gratitude journal. So and it's really cool because one of the things in there, he has this activity called above and below the line. So what in my life brought me below the line, like into negativity, depression, into one of my words that I always build in, annoyed, right? And so it really helps set my day up. Okay, where was I off yesterday? How did I get out of it? What am I grateful for today? What are my actions? Who came into my mind? Who did I have a prompting that I need to reach out? So my mornings always start with that. And then it's interesting because we're in Utah, they're an hour behind. And so I always try to find balance in my life in, what kind of physical exercise am I doing? What am I doing to take care of my body, right? Because I do sit at my desk a lot in a day on Zooms doing different things. So is it going for a walk? Is it going for yoga? Is there things in the evening that I can do? And, being in a network marketing company, sometimes we have Saturday events, sometimes we have evening things. But how do I make sure I'm spending time in important areas? Like, how do I make sure I spend time with my husband? Every Thursday night, we have a date night, right? That is on the calendar. If we're both home, that's what we do. I play golf, so I find some balance. We both play golf, so we do that together. But how do I, one of the things that's really important is, and I think balance is important across life. I don't think every day is perfectly balanced. Like, I think that's a myth because some days you're on deadline, but how do I make sure to take that time for me, even if I'm on deadline, where I've taken some time? And then for me, it's also travel, right? I believe in work hard, play hard, and then relax. And so, about once a quarter, I'm spending a week off, just rejuvenating, doing something we love. Maybe like next month, we're going scuba diving in the BVIs and I'll live. So it's just finding that time that as all about us. And then the other thing I think is balance is putting away that phone at night, right? My husband and I sit down to dinner every single night. Phones go away. It's just the two of us. And we literally talk about each other and how was your day and what's going on in your world, right? Without the distraction of the phone. Because I think that's the piece that keeps us out of balance is we're worried about what's going on here instead of what's right in front of us.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the same thing for me. Like at night, I put my phone in the bathroom and close the door. I don't want any light, and I don't want to be distracted. And yeah, it's just so easy to, and it's really, I call it the antisocial network. Like you mentioned in the morning, it's like you think you have all these friends, but you're really not. It's just endless scrolling. And recently, I was asked for a quote in Ad Age about these. Have you heard about these new warnings? The general, what is it? Surgeon General warning about social media and the impact on children's brains that is becoming so bad that they're now considering putting a warning on social media channels when you go to them.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And because, the endless scrolling, it's just, especially when your brain's forming, it is just like a brain sucker,
Right.
But I think it's the same for adults as well. I mean, it just becomes so addictive and just endless. So I think you're right. So you can get more of your own life back by just putting the phone away early and using less of the screen time, no matter your age.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has been really interesting. Thank you so much for being a guest today. Is there anything else you want to add before we conclude?
Well, thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I would just say to people, find something in your life every day you can be grateful for. What has it been? 7 years now. My mom passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack. My dad had passed away 2 years ago. And I had made a commitment right after she died that I would find joy in my journey every day. And I actually posted about it. I think it was 1,500 days I finally stopped it. But every day, something that I could find joy or be grateful for, right? Gratitude. And so it got me through that season in my life. And then I went through, my husband's British, and we went through the whole immigration process to bring him here. And that was through COVID, so we couldn't travel and see each other. And it took a little over 2 years for once we got married. The first year was 19. We traveled. It was great. 2020 hit. We had COVID. We saw each other once in that year period. And so during that, it's finding something you're grateful for every day. We're all going to have bad days. We're all going to have moments. But I think when you can focus on gratitude and what you're grateful for, even if it's just a little thing, right? I'm grateful for my fluffy pillow. I'm grateful for my friend or this or that.
In bed. That's what I always do when I lay in bed at night. And I'm a big believer in that too, like in manifestations and thinking of those things, like my daughter and my but the safety in general, like when you close your door and just knowing that you're gonna have sleep and the comfort of your bed and the safety of your home is something that millions and billions of people don't have.
Right, exactly. And so it's finding that thing. And like through my mom's death, there would be someone that reached out, right? I could find joy in moments, maybe not through the full day, but in moments. And so if you are going through a season of your life, right, that everything is not where you want it, find those moments to jot down those things that you're joyful for or grateful for every day. And it can be different every day. It could be the slice of pizza I had last night because it tasted amazing, right? And as you do that, what you focus on, you bring more into reality. And so if I could leave anything to your listeners, that's what I would be. It's just focus on find something every day you're grateful for.
And that's a wonderful sentiment, especially for now as we're entering November and with Thanksgiving coming up and Giving Monday and all these, or Giving Tuesday, I should say. It's Cyber Monday, which is not about giving to yourself, right? Yeah. But I think that's a really wonderful sentiment, and I actually really appreciate it right now. I just had a hip replacement a couple months ago, or now it's 6 weeks ago, and just going through that whole process of not being able to exercise and not being able to drive and things can happen at any time in your life that puts you into, when you're depression, I guess, or
Right.
you're more tired. And just 2 days ago, I got the green light to start going back to my home gym. And it's just that 30 minutes on the bike in the morning is, a game changer. So getting out, taking time for yourself, I think those are all like really, really positive, good tips for everyone who's out there listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here. And to connect with Callie, you can visit her on her LinkedIn page, as well as we will post the promptings on the promptings on the channel. And please join me next week as I interview another industry expert on a topic to help you succeed on and offline. Aloha. See you in the pixels. Awesome. Well, that was
Awesome.
really